Hey, it's the core gameplay. In this video, I want to share with you my Void Gauntlet build. This build has 300 focus since I am a main healer, but it will also allow you to 1v1 basically everybody in the open world when you're farming or when you're just out and you want to have PvP on. I've been using this build ever since the Void Gauntlet came out, so I have tested it a lot and I have finally put together the best in slot perks for it at least, but not 600 gear score yet, but I am working my way towards it. This build will allow you to sustain yourself so that you can out DPS any player. I have fought hatchet players that I have out DPS'd. I have fought other Void Gauntlet players that spec into intelligence. As long as I'm in my sacred ground, I could out DPS them as well and constantly root them so they can't get away. I have fought musket players and bow players, and I mostly won all of my fights. Even great X players I have fought and I have won quite a couple of times. The only time that I really lose is against Firestaff players and Void Gauntlets. Then I really need to play perfectly, but you can win in that situation as well. Since you are a healer and you have 300 focus, you are going to do a couple of things. But let's dive straight into the build, and I'll also show you my combos at the end of the video by discussing a few gameplay clips. So let's take a look at the build. For my build, I'm first gonna go over my gear pieces so that you can see I didn't have all of these gear pieces in the first clips. I basically ran faction gear, but I finally upgraded to all of these gear pieces, so the build is even stronger than you have seen in the clips before. So what do I run? At the moment I run a Void Gauntlet called Nothingness. I just crafted this since it was the easiest legendary to get. I do get some lifesteal and I get enchanted on it. So that's pretty good. Plus I get some intelligence and focus, which this build really needs. I'll go into my attributes in a little bit. Then I have my life staff. You definitely want refreshing on a life staff. Bless and refreshing is best in slot for life staff since you can do a lot more healing when your skills refresh. So always get that life staff. I'll go into the rotation of the abilities in a little bit, but just make sure that you get this life staff. The faction one, I used the faction one for a long time, but I've recently bought this one, so I'm very happy with what I got. The legendary one from Lazarus would be a lot better, but I haven't gotten it yet. Now for my gear pieces. As you can see, I am in medium. I am running a little bit of a weird setup since I got light gloves, so I had to go heavy boots, heavy chest, light foot or foot armor, and then medium head armor. For my head armor, I have mending protection, which will increase my healing power if somebody is below 50% health. This is just for wars. Sometimes if I'm in the Zerg, I'll go with orb of protection, but at the moment I don't run this when I run solo. For my chest piece, I have fortifying sacred ground. This is really good. This is basically a must-have on any life staff since it will give you a lot of survivability, and you'll see I definitely fight in my sacred ground a lot since this is so good. So definitely always try to fight into your sacred ground. Mostly what I do is when I get low health, I'll sacred ground, light embrace, and then switch back to my Void Gauntlet, root somebody in my sacred ground and fight inside of it, or at least I try. For my gloves, I have Revitalizing Beacon. Revitalizing Beacon is important since you're always going to open up with your beacon. This Revitalizing Beacon will allow you to do extra healing for yourself. So I do believe it stacks with the Void Gauntlet since if I use Beacon and I run into it, the buff still stays up. So I will get extra healing from it as well. Plus, if you hit somebody, you get that extra healing. So it will help you out heal their DPS as well. So this is just a really good perk for life staff because you use beacon so much. Good for 1v1s. Then for the Void Gauntlet perks. For Void Gauntlet perks, I chose Voracious Blade. It will heal me when I am below 50% health. This will allow me to stay topped up so that I can out heal their DPS. Since I'm not a main DPS build, it will allow me to out sustain them. Since my main focus is healing, I have the advantage for healing with Void Gauntlet. So always try to out heal them. And then definitely the Scream. Petrifying Scream will reduce their healing so that I can execute them. Also for the gems, Opportunist, I just get this so I can execute people when they get low. And Petrifying Scream will help you with this as well. And then obviously a diamond for my healing staff. Now onto my trinkets for my amulet. This is just an amulet that I got for the quest. I haven't upgraded it yet and I definitely want to. But I have health on it and purifying so that I can remove dots on me. For my ring has sacred and hearty on it. It's not the best gear score, but I picked it up for 1400 on the market and I think it was definitely a steal. And then for my earring, obviously I have regenerating and refreshing, pretty good earring. Shame I don't have it in 600 gear score. So as you can see, I don't have much legendaries, but it's pretty good. Now for my attributes, I always pop a food. Just pop a food so you can see what's my best attributes. For my attributes, if I could have this perfect, I would run 100 intelligence, 300 focus, and 100 constitution. At the moment, I have 101 constitution, nothing I can do about it. It's because of my amulet and ring has constitution on it. I'll probably try to get a focus amulet so I can get this 100 exactly. If I have all legendary, I should be able to push these numbers a little bit further to 300, which is my goal. But this is pretty decent healing as long as you have this perk here at 250, you're good to go. But this is where I spec into last. If I go to war, I just respec, I remove all my intelligence, I put in a rapier, and that's how I survive in war. But when I'm running alone, I usually run with Void Gauntlet so that I can protect myself and actually defend myself against other players and get the kill. I rarely die in the open world. So that's how I like to spec my attributes. For the weapon mastery, now the life staff is pretty standard. We do all the same thing with life staff. I just run Sacred Ground, Light's Embrace. You can just take a quick look at that. But let's go into the Void Gauntlet and see what I run. For the Void Gauntlet, I like to take Void Blade, the Petrifying Scream, and Orb of Decay. A lot of people will take Oblivion. I don't like to take it since I am mainly focused. I definitely want myself to have more healing than the other person. And since Orb of Decay scales from focus, the healing, I'm better off if I take Orb of Decay since I'm playing to my strengths. Since I will out heal anybody with this, I don't choose the last one. It's just micromanagement. I do not want to focus on activating this while I'm trying to dodge other abilities. For example, ice showers. If you get in an ice shower and a mage has it, that's their main ability to get you down. Try to avoid those. So I do not take this. Sure, it's pretty good, but I do not like micromanagement. Now for the Void Blade, I take everything in Void Blade so I can heal up. At the moment, you can get about 20% crit chance, which is really good since it will heal you as well. And here's the crit one that will heal you for 15% of damage done. But the main thing you want is the ultimate, since it also scales with focus, so it's really good for healing you when you're fighting a 1v1. This will win you fights 100% of the time. And for the special one is the Harvest. When you use Void Gauntlet, you can drain your health for mana. You will have to manage this quite a lot since you will run out of mana, but it's nothing too difficult since you can just pop Sacred Ground and you will have your healing back. Usually what I do, I pop Sacred Ground, or if I don't have enough mana, I'll just give it a tap, then pop Sacred Ground, and you will basically heal yourself full. So let's go back to the Void Gauntlet. For that, I have this refreshing move, and where's the one? Efficient Harvest. This will reduce my damage I take when I try to get my mana back with the harvest, and then I also reduce my cooldowns. This is really important. Sometimes you can fight with Void Blade or you accidentally you double tap Q and your Void Blade will go on cooldown. What I like to do then is just pop a Sacred Ground, sit in Sacred Ground and just try to get my Void Blade back. And obviously you will have to move in position, but you will get Void Blade back pretty quickly. So that is why I chose that one. That's basically the main reason for my spec here. So you can just copy this, you'll see it will work really well. Something, if you have a refreshing move, then you do not need this one. I do not have a refreshing move, but I do like the healing. Sometimes I like to heavy attack. For example, when you use the Void Blade and you double attack, the third attack will basically launch you forward. And sometimes it can be weird and you can miss your opponent. So I like to attack twice and I do a heavy. That's how I like to play my Void Gauntlet mostly. So now that we're done with the build, let's dive into some PvP clips where I explain my thought process. The first duel here is against a Void Gauntlet and a Fire Staff user. Now they do a lot of damage, so you need to be really careful so they don't instantly burst you. Bursting is really good against healers, so you need to make sure that you keep yourself topped up, especially when you get really low, like 30% health, then you need to be really careful. So you'll see me try to dodge and weave so that I can get their abilities of cooldown. I do get low quite a couple of times, but because I have life staff, I can just heal myself up quickly and then get back into the fight. You'll also see me manage my mana a lot with the Void Gauntlet, since it is very heavy in mana usage. So try to make sure you keep your mana topped up. You can see I stand in Sacred Ground and I constantly manage my mana and cooldowns by using the harvest with the Void Blade. Sometimes I just quickly switch, quickly tap the harvest, and then I heal myself back to full. Even though I'm critical health, I'll probably do it since I need that Light's Embrace on me. I always pop Sacred Ground since I do more healing when I need it, so I try to pop that first and then Light's Embrace. This is why my skills is also like that. So I actually won there. I won quite a few times after this as well, so it can be done quite easily. This is probably one of the best mages in our guild. Also leads our wars for us, and he does craft a lot, so his gear is pretty based in slot. And he does like to troll by dancing while I'm healing, since it does take a long time. But you can see I managed to almost kill him a lot here, since he is squishy. And I do try to avoid his ice showers, especially since it will do a lot of damage. Like while he's in his ice shower, I can basically, or entombed, then I can set myself up with mana and heal. Luckily here I was in my Sacred Ground while I got ice showered, and that saved me. Each time you get ice showered, just Sacred Ground, Light's Embrace, since you're about to take a lot of damage. Sacred Ground will give you fortification, so it's really nice to avoid burst. Here I fight in his ice shower, or what, storm. I don't remember the ability's name, but you can see I get him really low. But unfortunately I run out of mana, so I can't finish the job. I quickly switch, give myself a few taps of mana, quickly heal back up. You see he does do a lot of burst damage, and burst damage is the enemy of a healer build, so you need to stay on top of your health a lot. That's why you'll find yourself switching a lot and basically managing your mana. Here he trolls me by using an emote. Okay, keep your healing up. You can see Ice Shower. I heal right through that. Even though he's heavy attacking me. Here I don't have mana again, which is a shame. Probably gonna heal myself up again. Just trying to avoid his pillar of fire. Good with Void Gauntlet, he dances, I catch him. And I think he gave up here because the fight was going too long. But I managed to finish it and it was a good one. So as you can see, the build is really good for 1v1s. You can 1v1 great axes, you can 1v1 hatchets. Firestaff and Void Gauntlet can be tricky sometimes since they have so much mobility. Mobility is difficult for the Void Gauntlet since the Petrifying Scream is so low range, but if you do catch somebody, you can definitely murder them. So I hope this build was helpful. If it was, then you can give it a like, and if you want to see more videos from me, then you can subscribe, and I'll see you in my next video.